Welcome back to In This Corner. And as you can see, things have changed. During the Ken Shamrock interview, we had a blank wall, and my hair was a little bit longer. But through the magic of television, I'm now in a set with some cool posters and some action figures, and my hair looks a lot better. It's television magic, folks. But we are going to continue this awesome episode with a guy that really needs no introduction. All you got to do is see that mustache, and I think that's all you need to see. But I'm going to give him an intro anyways. UFC Hall of Famer, UFC's only Triple Crown winner. That means the UFC 5 tournament, UFC Super Fight Championship, and the UFC Ultimate. So awesome stuff there. Two-time NWA heavyweight champion, All-American wrestler at Arizona State, and the star, and I think this is most important, the star of Swamp Zombies, in my estimation. I mean, that is an Academy Award-winning film. I got Dan the Beast Severn here. Dan, how are you doing, man?
I was holding it all together until that last portion right there. I'm still waiting for my Academy Award from that one. Yeah.
I think it's Citizen Kane, Swamp Zombies. They're right there.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's life has been interesting in so many ways, especially like I said, the last month and a half. It's kind of like going, to actually see people. Well, I should say that's all you really are doing is seeing people anymore. You're really not interacting with people on a face-to-face basis.
Very, very true. It's a whole different world now, and I want to talk to you about that. Now, you're out in Arizona right now. You have a couple of different homes, different sort of coasts.
I was actually when all of this was breaking out. I first, the first of the coronavirus, I was already, it had already been, the cat was out of the bag, but I still had a trip. I went over to Japan, spent about 10 days over there, went over there and back, and I packed a face mask, knowing that the Japanese people, they are very, very polite people. I always enjoy going to the country. It's always one of the cleanest, if not the cleanest country to go and visit, and what they can do in a amount of space. Their architecture, design, a lot of Americans can learn an awful lot from the Japanese folks there. But again, I went on that trip, came on back from it. I was in transit because I like to say I split my time between Michigan and Arizona strategically, but I don't. I mean, it's as business opportunities come into play. I travel from Michigan to Arizona, Arizona to Michigan. The reality is my suitcase is usually in some hotel room in between any of those 2 points. And I just acquired yet another location back in Michigan, but I've always wanted to have some waterfront property, and I now have some waterfront property.
Ooh, now it's a good market for the buyers out there. Most definitely.
It's incredible markets right now. I mean, it's as I look into the Dan Severn crystal ball here right now, I see lots of big sales coming up on cars, boats, all of these bigger ticket items. I mean, I can't believe the interest rates that they're costing right now for if you want to buy a new vehicle or things of that nature. I mean, it's a home loan, things of that nature, like 0% for like several years. It's just crazy what is coming about. Through all of this, I don't know how to actually say this, but through all of this, you can't keep giving on one aspect. You can't keep reaching in that pocket, pull it out, and give it away. Sooner or later, you got to collect and bring it right back on in. And I don't think very many people are going to be prepared for the domino effect that is going to be hitting our country, the backlash that is coming.
Oh, I 100% agree. And there's so much uncertainty here with the future, and so many different businesses that I think are going to drastically change. I think the event business, which I know you promote events, and I think that's drastically going to change.
There's actually, you and I could do a whole segment on that alone, because
I agree.
I'm already working on that aspect right now with a couple different groups. Now, again, it's kind of interesting because when you talk with Dan Severn, it's not just MMA stuff you can talk about too. It's MMA stuff, it's professional wrestling stuff, it's amateur wrestling stuff, it's some grappling market. But they just, for thinking outside the box, I think that's one of the things that has kept me in different industries, because I'm a very creative person, And there's more than one way to skin a cat.
No, 100%. It's going to be the people that are willing to think outside the box and that are resourceful people that are going to do well in this situation and recognize those opportunities and jump all over them. So
Yes.
I do agree with you on that. That being said, I want to ask you a specific question about this COVID-19 situation. I know you have the amateur wrestling background, obviously with Arizona State, and you've coached as well. What do you think about these wrestlers that aren't going to get another year of eligibility and they had their season cut short? I think that is so unfortunate.
The whole season, getting cut short. But I mean, but same way with basketball and any other types of sports, right there. Whether we're talking on a collegiate basis or on the NBA or well, again, the NFL market, they don't even know what they're going to be doing yet for practicing wise. There are so many question marks, I guess is a way of putting it. I hate to be the cynic here, but I mean, I can't be other than who I am. I am rather blunt to the point on aspects. There's just people need to go back to work. I mean, I think it's a shame that people have to be told to cover their mouth, go wash your hands. I mean, there's certain things that it's kind of like common sense is not very common here right now through all this. I don't even want to refer to it as a pandemic. I call it a sheer stupidity that's going on here right now. And we're spending money and doing things and giving away stuff left and right that the domino effect, no one is looking at what is going to happen with this domino effect to everything that's going to come from it. The fact that a person should be able to survive a couple of weeks without a paycheck. That's just common sense. That's what you're supposed to be taught as you're growing up and stuff like that. That felt away a couple of things because people do shift jobs. They change from one job to the next. This is just a glitch in the system. There will eventually be some sort of new normal. It will never be the old normal, but it will be a new normal. I mean, just to see people interact, are they shaking hands, are they even making eye contact anymore? I mean, it's so weird. It's like elbow bumps, knuckle bumps, air fives, whatever else you want to say to it. It's rest assured that Dan Severn will keep evolving with the times and still stay just as busy.
I have no doubts in my mind.
Sometimes it's funny because all I do is simply speak my mind.
Well, I remember, we were working the North Star Combat event and we had a chance to really spend time together, and that long drive from Minneapolis with Stephan Bonner was 3.5, 4 hours in the car. But the first thing you wanted to do was go get something to eat at Subway immediately, and you wanted to work. I mean, and you immediately got to work, and you're working on different business ventures. And man, I really admire that drive. And I think that's one thing that I've taken from you is just, never stop going after it and taking these opportunities. And that's
everything is an opportunity, even though these are, there's a lot of crime and stuff like that. There's just a new, kind of like a new rules of engagement. It's hard for me because I'm not all that well equipped when it comes to electronics and understanding, Zoom meetings and how to conduct all these other types of aspects. But I'm still back to, I got people that are forwarding me on me video clips of their wrestling matches. This, whether it be amateur wrestling matches, professional wrestling matches, where now basically take them like an hour out to critique. I always tell amateur wrestlers, can make better in matches. You just send me 3 of your matches, 3 different matches. And I go, I'll study those 3 matches. It will take me at least an hour because I will spend a lot of time and I will critique it to where I will come back with you, give you new techniques that you should be working on, even to the fact that it all depends on your overall, how I look at your cardiovascular physical things of nature. There might be diet, nutrition, and other factors that I'll complete in there. I mean, they're actually blown away when they finally get kind of like a little report back from me as to how detailed I am. But if you want to be successful in anything, you don't simply just fly by the seat of your pants. It's good to have that ability to fly, but you better have, if you want to stay in the game long enough, you better have some good foundation.
Well, and you have to be very open to criticism as well, and that's something that you totally understand. Let's switch gears here because I do want to
Yeah.
get into the meat here and what people want to hear from Dan Severn. So let's talk about wrestling. We'll go into wrestling first. I know people usually probably go into the MMA stuff first, but let's go into wrestling first. 29
Are we
years.
going into wrestling or are we going into wrestling?
We're, we're going into wrestling.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Now I'm following you.
29 years, and I consider you active to this day. Obviously, I'm sure you do too. 29 years in professional wrestling by my accounts, by my research. I think that's right. Two-time NWA heavyweight champion. Now, just in the last few years, the NWA has become a lot more popular. Billy Corgan has revitalized it, and they're doing some really, really neat things, and I'm sure you probably appreciate what they're doing. Does that title mean a lot to you when you think back on that and holding that two different occasions? Because that's a pretty big deal.
No, it was. I mean, in the beginning, I did not really know all that much about the NWA, but when it was brought to my attention that there was a group of men that wanted to put the title onto me, I started doing some research, and there's a few gentlemen that I met along the way that, I mean, they're just simply historians in that, and and out of the blue, I ended up getting some phone calls just out of the blue, like a Bruno Sammartino. Now Bruno's gone, but out of the blue, Bruno Sammartino simply just called me on my private cell phone. First off, I didn't think, he's a much older gentleman. I didn't know how well he would be in tune to today's technology and stuff like that, but he does call me up on my private. So, and he's very, very complimentary. He goes, I see what you're doing with the NWA title. He says, you're doing a lot of good things there, son. He goes, please keep up the good work. I'm thinking, wow, I mean, because I knew about a Bruno Sammartino. I had never met him before. After that phone conversation, when I knew I would be at some type of a Comic-Con or something like that, and I knew that he would be there, I would go out of my way to, meet him for at least the first time, and then, and then just to continue to stay in contact with him until, again, obviously, he's gone now. But no, to have that belt put on, I mean, very prestigious, especially if you go back in time. Some of the more current, maybe not as much. I'm not trying to say like the current whoever. I don't know even know who holds the NBA belt right now, but there was a time period there that not as credible of athletes were wearing that title belt. Whereas before, if you go back to the old carnival days, they would always put the title belt on somebody of true ability.
Sure.
And when the announcer would be in the ring with the champ, and the announcer would be saying, any man, woman, or child that can last 10 minutes with the champ gets like $10,000. That was a shoot comment that the announcer was making, knowing that whatever poor slob that would crawl through those ropes, that champ was going to put down hard and fast. And now when Billy Bob goes back up into the crowd thinks it's ought to be legit, because look what happened to one of our own. And it was the principles that the show was built upon. And literally, it should have been the era that I should have been involved with, because that would have been ideal for me.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, and I really do hope that, and I don't know what kind of contact you've had with that organization. And, it's one of those things. And let me see if I get this right about you, Dan. It seems like you're very business oriented, very business minded. Obviously, you make good investments. You want to make money. It seems like you don't really get sucked in to the big event or the big limelight or what might be, the big deal to a wrestling fan. You make strategic decisions for Dan Severn, and it seems
Correct.
like kind of now.
But I'll just to cut you off for one moment, is that money does not dictate Dan Severn. I mean, I always tell people that if money was my only concern, I could probably still be working with Vince McMahon and the WWF, now known as WWE, but I would have, the beast across my forehead. I would be an Undertaker disciple, the whole 9 yards. But
that'd be fun.
But I care about who I am and what I represent. So I mean, it's there's a lot of professional wrestlers. They'd give their arm to have some type of gimmick like there. I did not come in with a gimmick. My gimmick was being that, I guess, a throwback from days gone by. You know, as you bring up the NWA, I really would love to have a face-to-face conversation with the new ownership and to see, is there a place for a Dan Severn?
Sure.
Whether that be in a guidance type of area, whether that means even any kind of still in ring type of an appearance or performance. I always tell people that I might be going on 62 years of age. Now, granted, this will be probably the grayest you'll ever see a Dan Severn is kind of doing the aspect there. It's kind of like going, I'm just, I know what's Cyrus. I mean, literally everything is Snow White, so there's no secrets to that. But you'll never find a more active or goal-oriented individual. I think, as myself, when you do work for yourself, you don't just put in 40 hours a week. You put in a lot more than that. You obviously, you know that with your own businesses. It sucks up a lot of time, but I actually enjoy what I do. So the fact is I have a huge variety. So I'd say most of the things I do are instructional type based. So working with law enforcement, Center Marshal, military, they all have some sort of a ground combatants type of a program. And ever since the Ultimate Fighting Championships first broke bread, all first responders realized we need some type of a ground combatants type program. So that was something that I accidentally somehow got involved with, and now I'm basically an expert individual in all the different types of that I work with. But then still, when it goes to amateur wrestling, but then in amateur wrestling, there's categories of folk style, what we do here in the United States. There's freestyle, there's Greco-Roman, the two international styles. And then there's submission grappling. There's non-gi submission grappling. There's ski submission grappling. So I've got a lot of different things that yours truly can do, whether it's still sitting on the sideline and simply just watching your videotapes and making my little critiques of what I think you should be doing for techniques and tactics. And, or, you know, like I said, just, I'll never run out of things to do. I will run out of time.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, this is a good topical question here. I don't know if you've seen any of these documentaries that have come out called The Dark Side of the Ring. It's kind of a big deal right now.
Yes.
Okay. So did you happen to catch the one about the Brawl for All?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, then let's dig in a little bit and then let's have fun.
Okay.
They went into this Brawl for All, and the Brawl for All is one of those things that I remember vividly because that's when I was really into the product. I was a junior in high school, senior in high school, and I remember how excited I was about this. And but it turned out to be one of the biggest disasters ever in the business. I mean, because so many guys got hurt, so many guys' pushes got stalled or never happened. What can you tell me about that? And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I was really surprised because number one, I was surprised you were in it. I was surprised that they got you to do it because I would have figured like they wouldn't even ask you because of your acumen and your past at that point with the UFC. But I was a little surprised. I was surprised that you barely edged that first round victory. Tell me about that because I thought you would have wiped the floor.
No, excuse me, Cyrus. I don't know if you're watching it. Did you say barely edge?
It was close, though. I mean, it was a really close.
Guess, to give you the quick Reader's Digest version of it all, when they came up with this idea, they announced it at a Monday night, or it could have been a Monday night or a Tuesday night raw taping, and all of the different road agents called in all of the talent into the cafeteria area. And then they were going to pitch this concept of this Brawl for All. And just to get into it, but they set up, only two people are not going to be allowed to be inside Brawl for All, and that is Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn. And then I just asked one of the road agents, well, if I'm not going to be involved in this, do I have to stand around there and listen to what's going to be pitched? And the road agent says no, so I just basically left the cafeteria. So I really did not even understand what they were doing because I didn't pay no attention at the beginning because it did not affect me. When you're on a show like a WWF type of a production, WWE production, they have a dry easel board out there that they might have 8 or 10 matches on that board. but all of a sudden, there's no guarantee that you're going on that night, and they have to have half a dozen different storylines going, because they cannot put all of their eggs into one basket. If they put all the eggs into one basket and then you somehow get hurt, legitimately get hurt in a match, what are they going to do? And you're going to realize, the professional wrestling, Vince McMahon runs a phenomenal business model right there. I mean, they have these half a dozen or more different storylines that are taking place, and they're leading up to these monthly pay-per-views, and it just recycles month after month after month for war, whether it be for WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble for that, and they all have different types of ways that it's all structured, but it's always a new player that comes to play. So I'm not involved into it. This goes on for several weeks. Then out of the blue, again, I'm just kind of sitting around waiting to find out, am I actually going to go on tonight? And I have one of the road agents comes up to me, he says, Dan, he goes, how would you like to be in the Brawl For All tonight? And I go, against who and how much? He gives me the father, he gives me a price tag. And I go, sure. I said, I don't want to wear any gloves. He goes, you can't go. And I said, I will never throw a single punch. And I will show you what a real wrestler can do. And again, they obviously did not want me to go out there without the gloves. But, these are one of those things that in hindsight, if you could do over again, I would have worn gloves out there. And then when I got out there, I would have had the referee basically remove them. Him not knowing why or anything like that, but I would have simply just, would have basically just, I would have lied to him, whatever, and I would have went on with what I wanted to do, and simply just would never thrown a single punch. I would have just glanced and whatever, but I did whatever I wanted to do that night, going against someone who was definitely is a barroom brawler,
Yeah. Well, what was the reasoning? Because now you didn't move on to that next round. You won. Yeah,
now that was okay.
So what happened there? What was the deal with that?
As soon as the match is done, I walk back to the curtain. I've got the exact same road agent. And now he goes, well, now you're out. You're back out of it. Now, CYRUS, this is where you and I, we could be questioning all day long there, but why did the Brawl For All ever transpire in the first place? And this is the Dan Severn mindset. The Brawl For All was nothing more than some of the mucky mucks sitting around BS and having a beer, whatever, and trying to say, I think this guy's tougher than this guy, and they come up with this concept of Brawl For All.
Sure.
And then somehow I got sucked into the equation for basically what turned out to be a one and done type of a thing, because you got men who are playing God with you and your career, because you stated it correctly. That whole Brawl For All was to bring in Steve Williams. And it was good to bring in Steve Williams in a big way, because Steve Williams was quite the brawler from Oklahoma University, football player, wrestler, and professional wrestler that spent most of the time over in Japan. So that was going to be a way for Steve Williams to come in. Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
Yep.
And it was very comical, because I remember, I think it was like my freshman year. I remember being in Oklahoma and seeing him actually wrestle, and he actually wrestled underneath the name Dr. Death, Steve Williams. So he was still, I mean, living the gimmick, or his gimmick was what he was living. And the funny part was all of his home fans actually booing him, and yet while he's out there being booed, he's still blowing kisses out to his own fans at home, and it was fantastic.
That is awesome, and no surprise whatsoever. We're going over our time, but folks, if you are watching this, we're going to try to get the uncut version on YouTube so you can watch the entire thing. But it may get cut up a little bit for TV. I can't, and I'm sure this is like everybody, Dan. Every time somebody wants to talk to you, they got to bring up Shamrock, right? So It's like I can't not talk about Shamrock. So I had a chance to talk to Ken, and he told me in as many words that you guys have effectively possibly buried the hatchet. And that's a pretty big hatchet. That's like a really big hatchet you have to bury. But supposedly you guys have buried the hatchet. You were at an event in Australia. He says that maybe there was some miscommunication over the years. What's your official stance on that?
Well, no, again, there really was a lot of misunderstanding in the beginning, and he doesn't know me really at all. I mean, after being on this road trip in Australia, I mean, I think we're there, 10 days. In 10 days, you're seeing each other, so you're interacting with each other, so you get a chance to know each other more. Did we walk away, singing Kumbaya or like that? No, by any means, but he understands more from where I come from. I am more from where he comes from. So I'll say that there's a mutual respect for each other. But, I'll still stand my ground. When it comes to the yin-yang symbol, Dan Severn is still in the white, and Ken Shamrock is in the dark. So...
Well, we actually had a chance to talk about this before this interview, and you said that you actually had a match with Ken in Australia. That's why you were there, and you said basically there was a rule. You laid down a guideline. I will not.
Yes.
Job.
Oh no.
Ken Shamrock. Period.
That I mean, when the promoter first attacked me, he's like. He goes, are you still wrestling, stuff like that? You wouldn't mind a match with Shamrock? I said, so it depends. I go, it all depends on what you are looking to have done at the finish. So again, what is the outcome? Again, it's professional. Hopefully, I'm not going to expose the industry. It's Vince McMahon himself exposed the industry back in the mid '80s, just so he didn't have to be underneath the auspices of various athletic commissions anymore.
Yeah, of course.
There is always predetermined outcome that comes out of it. That's how all the different pay-per-views go from month to next month to next month. So the promoter, you basically tells me, because I'd like you to do the job. And so basically, this is all being done through email. I didn't bother to get back to him for several days. And even then, I don't think I got back. He sends me yet a second email, and now he offers me twice as much. And so, and I get back to him. I love sweat another day or two, and I get back to him. I can just say, it's not about the money; it's about the principle. And I said, I do things a whole lot less money, do this to do that. But it's all about the principle of this match. I go, I know what I represent. I know what Ken represents. I said, I will not lay down for him. I said, I thought about it. I go, I'll throw out ideas. I said, if we were to go on the time barrier, that's a one ways out, when you go beyond a time frame or something like that, or a double count out where we're both out of the ring for over a 10 count or something like that. I said, I'm willing to settle for one of those. I said, but that's about it. So basically he gets back to me, and it's a deal. The funny part about it is, like, well, now that we've got this established, he goes, so am I paying you? And he goes back to the first. I go, oh, I'm sorry. You've already pulled back. You show the wisdom stand behind it. I said, it won't be the high price. It won't be the low price. We'll find some middle ground in between right there that we'll both be very happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at that, being fair and balanced as usual. Dan, it's awesome. You're one of the busiest guys that I know, and I'll reiterate that. And we didn't even really get a chance to really dig into MMA, so we may have to run this one back and go even deeper into it. Last thing I want to ask you, man, is there anything that you want to talk about, or anything about trying to get Dan Severn somewhere? I know things are a little difficult right now, but
still the way it's a contact to Dan Severn still has his website, dansevern.com. It's been under construction for a while now. It's my fault for dropping kind of ball there a little bit on that, but dansevern.com is how to get a hold of me email wise. People will be surprised. I'm a very active individual. I like what I'm doing. Like I said before, I'm out here in beautiful Arizona. Back in Michigan, I think it's going to be a boisterous 42 degrees, it's raining, it's like that. And I thought, heck, I could, why there when I be out here in Arizona? It's going to be like in the 90s here today, and it's sunshine, and I'm outside. It's beautiful outside here. I should probably just at least scan around there just to show.
And it's not too bad.
What's in my little background there, just to see the background real quick. It's beautiful what we're doing. I've acquired yet a new property back in Michigan. You know, what goal was to hopefully we'd be doing this summer was I was going to be spending like about 3 days a week, load up most all my classes on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at training facility, Water, Michigan Sports Camps facility in Coldwater, Michigan. I'd be just running my classes on those 3 nights, and the rest of the time I'd be working on my new project, Beast Island.
Beast Island. Oh yeah.
It's honestly, I purchased an island.
Stop.
No, seriously, I have an island. So
we're gonna
one of these next views, we may be doing it right there off of the island. So it's going to be kind of fun because even when I went over the first time I went over to take a view of this property, because I kept thinking, is it more the novelty or what? I wasn't sure. So the first time I go over there, the guy that's over on the boat, he keeps looking at me. He keeps looking at me. He goes, you're someone who what? It turns out 3 brothers owned the island, and all 3 of them were amateur wrestlers.
Okay.
So we already had this common bond of just amateur wrestling, and we got along fantastic. And I even said, as the negotiations go along, I said, well, you guys are all a lot younger than what I am, but if it need be, I go, we get down to splitting hair towards the end. I go, they had a big sand volleyball court. I said, I'm willing to strip off there and go on the sand volleyball court, and we'll go takedowns for the last few different $1,000 that we'd be away from each other. They got a big kick out of that one.
That's amazing. You know, so much you see those TV shows and they flip a coin for a price, and you're doing a takedown competition. So stay tuned. Who knows what's going to happen with Beast Island, folks. Hopefully I'm involved because we could have a lot of fun with that. Dan, it has been –
why I heard Dana White was looking for an island there to do his MMA shows on to us. I'm thinking, whoa, wow. Should I let him know that yours truly, one of his Hall of Famers, has got an island?
There we go. Dan, it's been a pleasure. Hope you have a beautiful day out there in Arizona, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cyrus. Take care.
All right. See you, Dan. And there it is, folks. So there it is, Dan the Beast Severn. We had Ken Shamrock. What an awesome episode. Make sure you follow us online. And, of course, we will have more incredible episodes coming at you. Incredible athletes. We're really going to blow your socks off here. I'm CYRUS FEES. We'll see you next time on In This Corner with CYRUS FEES.